It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Thanks so much for being with us. As always, I want to remind you guys about the Patriots VAC 746. Their goal is to educate the citizens of Arkansas about not only your Second Amendment rights, but your Arkansas rights according to the Arkansas Constitution and Arkansas statute. They are advocates of constitutional carry and telling everybody that it is the law of the land. It's not just that they're advocates, they're telling people that it is the truth, and that is right now you can carry a gun here in Arkansas, open or concealed, without a permit. And it's incredible. They've been saying for 5 years. It's now been affirmed in a court decision. It's been affirmed by prosecutors and police departments, dropping charges when they wrongfully arrest people because the law enforcement doesn't know what the law is. Well, some of them do, but some of them don't. And so if you want to find out more about this great organization and the work that they're doing, then you can go to Facebook.com and search for Patriots of Act 746. Act 746 was the law back in 2013 that was passed that decriminalized the possession of a firearm or any weapon on your person, on or about your person. And so look that statute up if you want, but if you want more information, go to Facebook.com and search for them. Welcome back to the program. We got Mr. Dan Borum is with us with the Patriots VAC 746. Dan, it's always great to have you on, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Paul Harrell. How are you this morning?
I am doing well. How are you doing? Is everything getting festive in your neck of the woods, getting ready for Christmas?
It's getting Christmas time. It's slipping up on us very quickly, and really so Merry Christmas to you and all of the people in Conduit News.
Yeah, well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I want to have you on and talk just a little bit about something that we kind of talked about with Chris Ann Hall last week was the idea of the amount of laws that are on the books. I've heard it said before that in an average day, the average American breaks laws every day. I mean, I don't know how many, but they don't even know they're doing it.
Exactly.
It just, if somebody wanted to enforce some law somewhere, they could, and they could they could really harass somebody with it. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you 100%, Paul. That more than likely, just look at the folks in Arkansas with the state laws that we have that are on the books. We all, just about every one of us, if we get in a vehicle and take off anywhere, we have probably broke a law in some form or fashion. Just think about those who do carry a weapon in their vehicle, and they are on the highway, yet they drive by a school, but the highway is fairly close to the school, and more than likely we break laws every day just in that fashion. But I was doing some research and looking through the weapons generally in Arkansas under Arkansas Code Title 5, Chapter 73, and just to begin with, in this particular document, there are 2 pages of definitions that you have to read and that you have to try to grasp an understanding of just the definitions themselves. And then in just the weapons generally, there are 33 different laws that go along with weapons generally. Now, that does not include the Arkansas concealed handgun carry licensing that's going through the Arkansas State Police. And I know within that there are 12 pages in the Arkansas CHCL, and then for the Arkansas enhanced carry, there's another 25 pages on the one that they came back and put some finishing touches to. They reduced it down to 25 pages. Deadly force laws. There are actually, under deadly force laws, you go through 52601 through 52621. And then you have your 573-120, which is your laws in Arkansas for carrying a knife. And so there is no doubt that we break a law just about every day under one of these laws that they have, and some of these laws are redundant.
Mm-hmm.
They repeat themselves, and so when we look at our God-given inalienable rights, which is it is not a right given to us by government, nor really a right given to us by the Constitution. It is a right given to us by our Creator to be able to protect ourselves, to defend ourselves. And the Constitution is supposed to protect the right that we already have. But yet we see that we're living in a generation of not necessarily uneducated people, but people who have been educated incorrectly.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that we have. We now have a society that's coming up. I mean, look at the masses that we're following after Bernie Sanders. What we have coming out of our public schools are little socialists that go right into the universities with socialist professors,
Yeah.
and then they're lost for good. If we don't rein it in and start teaching at home, we're going to lose this thing completely, Paul.
Well, that certainly is the danger. I think there are a lot of people that go to college and then they become taxpayers and then they realize, hey, this is ridiculous. But you're right. With Bernie Sanders and then that girl, Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It is, discouraging, especially when there really doesn't appear to be any core principles sometimes with the newer generation to where you can predict how they would react to a new situation. It seems like it's an ever-evolving process. They can change with the norms. In terms of how many laws that we have, Dan, I saw this. Our friend Gary on Facebook just posted this from James Madison, who wrote this: "It will be of little avail to the people that the laws are made by men of their own choice if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read, or so incoherent that they cannot be understood. If they be repealed or revised before they are promulgated, or undergo such incessant changes that no man who knows what the law is today can guess what it will be tomorrow." I mean, that sums up in a lot of ways where we are right now.
Our forefathers gave us the warnings. They gave us the tools. They gave us the warnings, but we did not heed them. We did not pay attention. And I say we because I believe with all of my heart and soul that we are all at fault in this, because for so many years we have stuck our head in the sand and pretend that these things weren't going to happen to us, or it could not happen to us, instead of paying attention. Now, I'm very thankful that we have people waking up. It's never too late to wake up, and it's never too late to rein this thing back in. But the only way we're going to do that is through correct education. Now, I have to say, I was really encouraged last night. I went to a town hall meeting in Ozark, Arkansas with Senator Stubblefield, and I tell you what, I just love the man. He is just he's a fighter. He's very conservative. He is a fighter for that which is right. He stands for that which is right. He's not afraid to back down. He's a man who is very willing to stand alone if he has to. And I'm just very impressed with the man, and he talked to us about these things last night. And speaking of the education, he said I would dare you, or I would challenge you rather, to take a college student today and just ask them to give you the definition of inalienable, and ask them if they can tell you what does that mean. He said, I would guarantee you almost 90% couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And see, that's the problem. Now, let me say this also concerning education. I was very encouraged to see Miss Jennifer Gifford Helms there last night from Russellville. She is also a great fighter for our education system in Arkansas in conservative education. And she she really gave a big shout out last night for Senator Linda Collins Smith, because what we had coming down the pike through our Common Core, they were removing in our state the true American history concerning our wars all the way back up into the Vietnam War. They were removing that out. They were not going to teach it. And Jennifer, working with Senator Linda Collins Smith, put her on it, and she got that changed. She fought, and she made sure that this history is to be taught in our public schools. But that's what we're fighting. And the fight's not going to end. They're going to keep coming at us. They're going to keep coming at us, and we have to be vigilant. We have to stay alert. We have to be awake and stay on top of these things.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very excited about the Patriots of Act 746 now forming into the Arkansas Liberty Coalition under a 501c4 nonprofit organization. We're going to be able to step up. We're going to be able to do more. And we've got a lot of good things coming down the pike, and man, I'm just excited about it.
And I know, I can definitely sense that, really just from the community as a whole.
Absolutely.
You talk about being vigilant. I've talked to a few people, and the impression that I kind of get at this point, if you look at the way in Arkansas.
Yes.
Possession of a weapon, has been decriminalized to such an extent.
Right.
It would almost be a good thing in the next session to not have any gun laws passed. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like don't do anything.
Just leave it alone. Oh my goodness! But I want you to think about all of these gun laws. There is no way in a short interview such as we are having that we could go through all of these laws with a fine-tooth comb. This would take days for me to just try to go through it and try to understand it, and making phone calls to people who are attorneys to help me understand language. Now, think about possible red flag legislation being thrown in on top of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my goodness, you talk about a disaster, a fiasco. This would be horrible. And, I can't go into any detail at this point, but I had an incident in the middle of November where if red flag legislation was in effect, I could have been in major trouble.
Really?
And absolutely. And there may be a time in the future where I can discuss this, but at the time I cannot.
Okay.
But this is something that, it's been a very scary situation for me. Know that within my heart, I know 100% that I was in the right, doing what I could to protect a loved one, but it turned south on me. And if red flag legislation was in effect, I would have had the authorities at my home confiscating my weapons.
What about and that is that's just ridiculous. So what about military veterans, combat veterans with PTSD? I think some of these red flag laws are gonna ensnare our veterans.
They will ensnare our veterans. They're going to be targeted, and when we have men and women who come back from foreign soil, who have been in battle, been in and around battle, and that changes the psyche. It has to. There's no doubt whatsoever when they come back that they're startled by these things.
Yeah.
And so we need a very, very, very good system in implementing these great men and women back into society when they leave the armed forces, and to help them cope. And I believe we have dropped the ball big time by just throwing our veterans out to the wolves to cope with things on their own.
Absolutely.
When we should be helping them to cope and to deal with civilian lifestyle once again after they have been through such trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's been through major trauma needs help to overcome it. I don't care who you are, how strong you think you are. If you've been through trauma, the Bible tells us that a wise man will listen to the counsel of a friend. All of us need counseling. Mm-hmm. We need counsel from time to time, whether it be from a friend, whether it be from a professional. We all need counsel. Why are we throwing our veterans out to the wolves and not giving them what they need?
Dan Borum, I really couldn't agree with you more, and I really appreciate you being on the program today with the Patriots Fact 746. And we'll do this again soon. And, this discussion on the amount of laws we have on the books, it would be great if they got rid of some of these.
Yes.
That would be fantastic, but something tells me they're just going to keep adding to it. Dan,
Right.
I'll give you the last word, sir, and then we got to go.
What I would like to do is challenge everyone out there who is listening, go to ArcLeg and look at 573-101 all the way through 573-133. Look at the concealed carry laws. Look at the enhanced carry laws. Look at all of the different laws out there concerning guns or possessing a weapon, and then come out and see if you can even come close to understanding and see what kind of situation that we're really in right now. So, Paul, thank you very much, and
Alrighty.
you all have a blessed day.
All right, you too. Dan Borum, everybody. You can go.